Planning a Year 2 unit of work around Old Bear. The first thing that I would decide is, what is the outcome going to be for the children? What would you expect them to write at the end of this unit of work? And I think when you're particularly focusing on narrowing the gap and seeing where the children are at, a really good end outcome is a simple retelling. Now, not a retelling of the whole book, because it's quite a long story. What I thought was that you could start off with a generic statement of the toys deciding to get Old Bear from the attic, and then the children could write about 1 or 2 or even 3 of the things that they tried, and then have a generic ending. And that would then differentiate it for different abilities in the class. Some children might just write about one event, whereas others could extend it as much as they wanted. So once I decided on that outcome, I would then look at Appendix 2, and I would identify which of the statements from there would be useful for this end outcome. Of course, you've always got to keep in mind the statements from Year 1, finger spaces, full stops, capital letters, exclamation marks, question marks, the joining word and. You might decide to have a focus on these statements too, particularly for the lower ability. It might just be for some groups. I think as you're particularly focusing on narrowing the gap now, reminding children of these. I think, the Year 1 criteria is crucial to the rest of the primary life. So have these up in bold somewhere on the wall. But then also thinking about what they could use from the Year 2 curriculum. And what I start by doing is usually jotting these down on a post-it note. Conjunctions, expanded noun phrases, progressive tense, apostrophes for contraction, singular possession, commas in a list. Now, I might not use all of these. If there's something I really want to focus on, I will contrive to fit it in, as long as it doesn't sound too contrived. But it helps me when I'm writing my waggle to think about what I might include in the writing. Once I've done that, I'll then turn to the Year 2 common exception words and identify which of those words could be useful in the waggle I'm going to write. These are the ones that I initially picked out for Old Bear. But obviously you find opportunities as you're going along as well. But this just helps to keep me a little bit focused, and also thinking about the suffixes that they learn in Year 2 also. So with that in mind, I've got my first draft, or my draft of the waggle that I've written. I've kept it like that to start with because I wanted to talk you through it and my thought processes as I was writing it. It didn't take long, actually. It didn't take long at all. I will type it up and put it as a document on my website so that you can just use it as it stands. But I wouldn't print it out. I would handwrite it so the children have got a model for their own writing too, and make it as big as you possibly can on your wall. So this is the generic paragraph I started off with. Depending on your children, you might actually give them that and say, right, copy the first bit, and then you can decide which of the ideas you can write about. Or you might let them write their own first bit, or you might have some groups using yours, some their own. Totally up to you. So I started off with, you'll see that actually I've circled all the common exception words I've used, and I've underlined the conjunctions, because conjunctions are so important to helping the writing flow, and it is really important to encourage children to use these. So I'll start off with, the toys decided to get Old Bear from the attic because the children were older and would look after him now. So you've got nice use of 2 conjunctions there. It's important to remember that you must only include what the children have learned and been taught, anything up to the end of Year 2, nothing beyond that. And then that will give them a good model, and there's more chance the writing will make sense, which of course is the be all and end all, isn't it? I then had, Duck thought it would be a good idea for the toys to make themselves into a tower. Full stop. Simple sentence. Remember, you don't need conjunctions in every single sentence. It's about using a variety. they've got a menu to choose from, and it's about using that menu to produce a nice piece of engaging writing. Duck's friends, apostrophe for singular possession, very proud of that I was. And then you got your common exception word friends, said it was a great plan. And we've got the use of an exclamation mark there because it's a great plan. You really want to say it. They all climbed on top of each other, but, and it's always good to get that conjunction but in, it's the one that I do find a little bit tricky. They all climbed on top of each other, so it looked like it was going well, but Duck opened his mouth to speak, and initially I put all the toys fell onto the floor. Get your common exception word floor in there. Then I thought, actually, I haven't used so many expanded noun phrases. I've got some good ones. It's not contrived. I haven't got two in front of every noun. You know, I've got, like, for instance, an adjective good in front of idea. And I've got great in front of plan. But I thought, well, let's have a more descriptive one and describe the toys as they fell onto the floor. So I put the poor toys. And of course, poor is a common exception word, isn't it? Bonus. Then we've got everybody, common exception word, agreed that it wasn't apostrophe for contraction there. Such a good idea after all, with an exclamation mark. And do you know what? That is a nice piece of writing for a year 2 child to produce. You know, perfect to see what that child can do as far as handwriting, spelling, all the statements in the vocabulary, grammar and punctuation appendix. You know, there's a lot there, isn't there? So if a child in your class produced a piece of writing like that, you'd be really happy. It's not too long, not too contrived, makes sense. And as I say, some will write less than that, others will write more. They might write about the next idea too. So it's open-ended.